Now this is tap water, so you're gonna see just how bad tap water is for both you and your reef. So here we go. We'll keep an eye on those 000 there. Today I'm going to take you guys through how I make the salt water for my aquariums, which I've never really done on this channel, surprisingly, and if I have, it's been like 8 years since I made that video. So today I'm going to walk you guys through the whole process. First, we got to start by putting tap water in our reef tank after the tap water goes through our RODI system. I almost got you there, and if I almost got you, make sure to leave a like and thumbs up this video. So the RODI unit that we're using here today is the Bulk Reef Supply 6-stage value unit. It's the 75-gallon unit here, and what it comes with, it says right here on the tin, which I really like about Bulk Reef Supply stuff. It has a 5-micron sediment filter, it has a carbon block, and then it has a 1-micron block as well, so it's a 5-micron and then a 1-micron. And then it has 2 DI canisters, so we have DI resin 1 and DI resin 2. You can see here actually that my DI resin chamber 1 here, it's about needing to be replaced. It's really only got like this 2 or 3 inches left here, and then DI resin 2 is still looking pretty good, but you can tell that it's starting to turn a little bit because DI resin 1 here is running out. And you can see that the first block here, the sediment filter, has actually caught some stuff. It looks like a piece of grass in there maybe. And then the carbon blocks here probably need to be replaced soon as well, so I've had this unit running for quite a bit. But in order to determine if we need to replace our filters here, we're actually going to test the TDS. So I know new reef keepers, the first question you're going to have is, what the heck is TDS? TDS is a measure of total dissolved solids. So with RODI water, you want it to be as pristine as possible. You want your TDS to be at least under 10, ideally 0. 10 is the maximum, where if I was getting anything over 10, I would immediately start looking at my RODI system and replacing the filters in there to get that down back to 0. Now the reason you want TDS of 0 is so when you mix your salt, the only TDS that you're getting measured is what your salt is adding to the water, because those minerals and everything in that salt is going to create a higher TDS rating. First, we just have to grab our handy dandy TDS meter. We're using this TDS meter from Aquatic Life today. Here we have 3 water samples. We have distilled water here on the left. So distilled water is going to be the purest water possible. We have our RODI water in the center, and then we have our tap water on the right. Now this is a TDS meter from Aquatic Life. This meter should always read 0 when you're using this water for your aquarium. If it reads anything higher than 10, then you should not put that water in your aquarium. So here on the distilled water, this is a good way to calibrate this. So this should say 0, and it should continue to read 0 no matter how long I leave it in there. So we can see that it is indeed reading 0. Now if we take this and let's just chuck some of the water out of it real quick, put it over in our RODI water. So this is RODI. You can see that it remains 0. There is nothing in there. I can even put the hold on it, and then that will keep the reading, so I can show you exactly that it's 000. Turn off the hold, shake that out. Now this is tap water, so you're going to see just how bad tap water is for both you and your reef. So here we go. We'll keep an eye on those 000 there. So it might be hard to see on camera, but it is hitting over 300. So I can hold, take that out of there, and now you can see 304 is the number we're getting on our TDS here, which is pretty terrible, honestly. So yeah, always check your water, guys. This TDS meter, I think it was like 20 bucks, and I've had it for years, and it's just worked so good, and it always tells me that my water going into my tank is healthy. Once I connect my RODI unit up to the hose outside, I run it inside, and when I run it inside, I'm using a magnetic float valve here. So I'm also using this military container here, and if I move it, it's going to make some pretty horrible noises from this float valve. But this is I believe it's a Scepter water, yeah, Scepter 20 liter, so a 5-gallon water jug. And the reason I like this a lot, it's got a pour valve on the front, so you open this up and you can pour it out of here. And I like too that you can seal this up and you can store your salt water for about 5 days is what I recommend. So I actually make new salt water on a Monday, and then I go and I pour the salt in here, get this all mixed up, and then I do water changes on Fridays after work. So here's the float valve. If I take this out, you'll see water starts to come out of it. And what has happened here is the float valve has, it's in the down position, so the water comes out. So I can move it over here for now, and it will effectively keep making RODI water until it fills up, and then it will stop, and it'll get the bucket to about right here, about an inch below the top. So you get about almost the whole 5 gallons, but just enough to where you can carry it around and not spill the water everywhere. So here's our container from Scepter. We're gonna tighten this down, tighten this bad boy here, that way we don't spill any water anywhere. Tighten that down, and now we're ready to take this bad boy and go. All right, once you have your fresh water made, you're gonna need to grab your salt. So in this case, we're gonna be using Instant Ocean salt. This is not a recommendation, this is just what I've had on hand. It's a fine salt. Salt is salt, right? So gets the job done, and it mixes with very little nutrients, so you can add in your own nutrients to this. So you want to dose maybe something like Reef, or maybe your 2-part calcium to this. So open our salt, open our freshwater container here. We're going to need about 2.5 cups in here, which actually might be about all I have left. There we go, that's the last of our salt, 2.5 cups, about 1/2 cup per gallon. Now once you have your salt in your bucket, you need to mix it up. What I recommend doing for mixing it, using a big power head like this, drop that bad boy in there, and then take it, plug it in the wall. It's going to sound beautiful. You just leave that sit for probably a good 15-20 minutes, and your salt will be fully mixed and ready to go. Thank you all so much for watching. I've got to get to a water change now, and I will see you on the next video.